used to destroy your home. Sometimes it destroys state, especially for the man.
That's not how it went down. Coming of age historically before colonialism, that is, before slavery, and how every part of your body works.
Exactly.
I don't know about every African country.
Yeah. How are we giving value of a black woman if the first thing a black child gets to play with is the image of a white woman?
About anything that says have you are powerful. I believe in myself.
Needed Africa and wanted to break and share lands and pieces. They needed to devalue the thing that African men.
About anything that society says you should have, you are okay. You are powerful.
Hello. Hello, ladies.
Hello.
It's an all girls team up today. Right. So I'm gonna ask a few questions on our segments today, but before I do any of that, I will let you guys introduce yourselves because you can do it better than me. Who you are, where you're from, and all that. I'll start with you.
Okay, so my name is Hanna. I'm a speaker, author, and entrepreneur. I run a charity organization called Young Ladies Club, and we provide mentoring programs, employability program, and personal development program for young girls and women.
Sweet.
My name is Marlene Mayele.
Yeah.
I'm from the DRC Congo. I am a mum, a mental health activist. I have a mental health platform called Reveal, which is now celebrating 3 years in the making for awareness of mental health in the BAM community. And I'm an online presenter.
Sweet. Okay, well, I'm just Charlhene. Yeah, none of all that credentials. And I'll be your
You're now
host.
an online presenter.
True. Yeah, I could add that in there, but you guys need to play. It's your day. Right, so today we're going to discuss in topic the value of a black woman. Okay? Yes, it's a big, massive, it's huge, but I've broken it down. But we're going to go straight to the kill. We're going to start with sexual violence. Okay? So I'm going to give you a bit of context, some facts, and then pose a question. All right? So I'll start. All right? According to the BBC, 48 women and girls are raped every hour as of 2011. The stats show that there's an increase of 34% since 2018. My question to you guys is, why? Why do you think this is? This is across the continent, not just a Congolese thing. This is everywhere, from Nigeria to
Africa
everywhere,
in
to
general.
Africa, period, yeah.
First of all, it's that topic. It's like when you said the topic and what we're starting off with, I really melted inside of me. It's a topic that is quite, it's very difficult. And why, if I had an answer why, I would give you one. But to my opinion, women are very vulnerable in such situations, or in Africa in general. We are put in a position where we have to just say yes, ask how high. We are put in a position that we have to just take what is given to us because the man is the breadwinner. And sometimes in Africa, it is literally like that. The man is the breadwinner. I'm at home. I'm nurturing and educating. But at the same time, it's used as a weapon, a war weapon. It's used to destroy your homes, to devalue your home. And sometimes it destroys the mental state, especially for the man. When they see that their woman has been raped, especially in front of them. And to devalue your tomorrow, because as a teenager or a young woman, if that happens to you, your tomorrow is really messed up. If it's not looked at, this is where the mental health comes into. Because mental health is formed of many different things. The trauma of it that is there, that is not resolved, that's not spoken about, that's not treated. And what's disgusting about it is that sometimes it's not just about being a victim of a mass distraction or a war weapon. It's that it's your uncle. It's your neighbor. It's your father. It's someone that you respect, that you look up to, that you're waiting to protect you. Is the person that would put you in such a position. And what disgusts me most about us Africans is that when that child wants to speak about it, people come to you as the mother or the auntie and say like, you know, uncle did this or someone did this, even if it's just attempted rape, they don't believe you. And that breaks you as a person.
Yeah, I mean, Marlene had so much to say, but just to add on it, I think there's definitely a power structure in place. There's a lot of power distance when it comes to the male and the female, especially when it comes to Africa. So there's this element of control and dominance, and it's not even just in the area of finances or economics. It could be in the area of the bedroom, which is obviously sex. I think there's an element of ignorance as well, because even where you may say that, you know, you can rape your wife, you know, in Western cultures where, you know, there's a law where you can actually rape your wife. If you're to translate that to Africa, it's like, rape my wife? Is that even possible? Because it's almost like you belong to them, almost like, not that you're property, but in essence, I mean, there's this whole debate about even paying bride price, like almost like you're paying for that person. So that almost gives you this kind of entitlement of you owning them, and therefore you can do anything that you want to do. So when you're in a society where there's a lot of power distance and power structure, and it comes to the males and females, you just think that, you know, you can just do whatever. And then going back to Marlene's point in terms of the plague of silence, even if you are a victim of rape and you tell someone, there's shame attached to it. And so there's a plague of silence where the perpetrator may feel that she's not going to say anything to anyone. Or he, why does it always, you know, it could be any gender, but she will not say anything to anybody, so they can continue doing it. And there's cases that I've read about where, it's in the family, maybe an uncle is doing it to a niece, and it's been going on for so long. And it's only when, you know, the girl is like maybe in her 20s and she's able, if she's able to talk about it, that's when you realize that it's going on. So I think just my final point is also, it needs to be condemned more. You know, the laws of society, the laws of the land need to condemn it more. You know, there needs to be, you know, higher charges in terms of prison terms and things like that, so that people know the repercussions of such action. So that's my point.
Just to add on to that and give it before I ask my next question. So I once had this political leader say to me that Congolese women are the most protected women, and African women are the most protected women in the whole world by men, their men.
You need to tell me how.
So I then replied back, I said, have you seen the statistics on domestic violence? And he was like, what do you mean? I said, well, if they're protected, why are you hitting them? If they're protected, then why are you forcing any form of violence on them? If they're protected, then why is it okay for you to stand by while 13 million girls are used and violated sexually, and then, you know, you've got charity Dr. Mukwege having to repair them? If they're so protected in the continent, why is it the top 10 countries, 6 of them are all Bantu, should we say, Africa? And out of 10, 2 are not Africa. That's just the top 10 highest rape countries.
Which other two is that?
And I can name them. South Africa, Botswana, Lesotho, Swaziland, Bermuda. And then you get into Sweden.
Wow.
So, you know, Ivory Coast and Nicaragua, Grenada, all these are predominantly black countries. So we could say continent, but we could say it's a black thing. That when it comes to the value of a black woman, it's something that we don't have within our culture as black people. But yeah, he didn't reply back after that because...
I think the whole black thing came across when we were being colonized. Because they needed, what she said here, it was power. They needed to claim that power, claim your power, break your power, and show that they have power to control you. So when they came and invaded Africa and wanted to break and share lands and pieces, they needed to devalue that one thing that African man had on their African woman, and to do so was to rape you in front of your husbands. And that was really breaking it. So it started from there, And it continued. And what our black men are doing, they're not, you know, when they say like you're repeating something, you're not realizing that what you're repeating is wrong or something, like that's exactly what they're doing. And what she said about a young lady breaking the silence and speaking 20 odd years later, they would still say, it's your fault. Why didn't you speak before?
Why did you let it happen?
Yeah, why did you let it happen?
Yeah.
Why did you wait so long to
I think
talk?
what I must emphasize on is because I'm adding to what you guys are saying, and it's important for everyone to take this away. If you are not powerful mentally, not strong enough physically, and you have been duped, because what we have to realize is it's a grooming process. So to tell someone, why did you let it happen, especially in the context of a little girl or a little boy, why did you let it happen? You're almost saying that this innocent being who hasn't learned is capable of teaching, in what you said earlier about their father, that this is wrong. That's what you're trying to say. You're saying a 12-year-old girl should know how to teach her dad not to do that. And again, that's more of an example. How is a 12-year-old responsible for learning a grown-up? Isn't it supposed to be the other way around? Why are we so quick to put the onus on the victim and not the perpetrator?
This is what is trying to happen in this country. They're trying to normalize things like that to make the young girl be the victim. So you've gone to school, I've taught you about this, and this is this. So if someone does touch you in a place that's not appropriate, you can't claim that what they did to me was wrong, because you're supposed to know about it. And this is where the role that parents, brothers and sisters, that we need to play to help our younger generation, to educate them and teach them what is wrong. And naturally, as Africans, we don't tend to discuss such subjects. It's a taboo. It's a taboo. I will not, well, I will. You know, there's some tribes in Nigeria, in Congo, that are comfortable to have such discussions. But there are other tribes, like, let's say, if I go to Congo, Swahili and Bangala are very comfortable to have such discussions. They will teach you what to do and what not to do and everything like that. But the other tribes are really shy about talking about it. So they don't get around teaching you what's wrong, what's not right, how someone shouldn't touch you, how someone shouldn't treat you. Like if someone touches you here, come speak to me about it. They don't have the whole sex education, let me just be raw about it, sex education from home kind of thing. But you have other tribes who are comfortable to tell you that they'll just go raw about it. And if we're not speaking about it at home, and you go and discover it outside,
it's true.
or you go and see something and someone's telling you to be quiet, then that's what you know as normal to you.
So then let me open it up to, because there's still violence, right? So let me open it up to FGM. There's this general belief within our whole continent that FGM somehow helps the female. I want to talk about it, and I want everyone to be as frank as possible, because there is, before I'll let you guys, you know, answer or even give your take on it. It's important to understand that there is different types of FGM. So there was once someone that said to me, "Oh, Congolese don't do FGM," and I said, "Well, that's a bit of a lie."
Is it?
And they were like, "What do you mean? We don't do stuff like that." I was like, "Well, that's a bit of a lie." Because there's a form. The practice is suppressing something, right? So I then explained, I said, "So what is Kubaka?" They went silent all of a sudden.
Okay, I'm intrigued.
And Kubaka is basically where they do the same thing, but only with a concoction of mixed something. I don't know what it is, but they mix it and they put it in the same place. And that suppresses the feeling. So it's the same, only some places they do the snip, right? So isn't that not the same thing? And they went silent, almost like, oh.
But I don't think Obaka is to suppress the feeling, because it depends what was Obaka.
But that's what I'm without going into details, I'm talking about that part, not the other part. You're talking about suppository, sort of, you know, for illnesses, you know, for whatever reason. But I'm literally talking
that
about
element,
there
and
is
there's
that
the
element
Gobaka of keeping it clean, Gobaka.
Right, but that's what I'm trying to say. So there is all of these things, but even through keeping it clean, it's given as, "Oh, we're giving you this to keep you clean," but actually, it suppresses.
Okay.
For what I know from people who have had it, it suppressed a lot of things. It had the same detriment effect as it did on the physical one. So that's where I'm like, what is the value of our womb and our sexual reproductive system to everyone? Because the people that carry on this tradition are women. This is why there's an all-female cast. We need to discuss what is it we're doing to our women, because we are doing it. Not us personally, but it's us. It's the matriarch that does this. It's not a man that goes in and does this. It's designed for the man. It's not, although it's preached as if it's helping us. But within that context, what are your thoughts?
I think that, you know, when you just made your last point in terms of the value of the woman and you just spoke about FGM, it really, I just thought to myself, women really go through a lot, honestly. Like, we go through a lot. And I think there's just not enough discussions about, you know, being valued as a woman and valuing ourselves. Because even the process of FGM, some women go through it without their consent. I've read stories of young girls. You know, there was a story that I read of a young girl who she had, you know, they cooked that morning, everything. It was almost like a celebration. And then she just heard her younger sister just scream in the kitchen, just like, and she was wondering like, what's going on? So she obviously peeked and saw that there was obviously some form of process with the knife going on that was quite extreme. But she didn't understand at that time, and she was next to go in, and it happened to her. She's still traumatized. She's still traumatized till this day.
So I'm yet to understand, what's the purpose of it? Why? Like, why would you just sit there and decide that we need to do this to you?
So the idea is, without being explicit, the idea, at least what my research on FGM is, I could be wrong, but the idea is that you're there to please. So in terms of sexual pleasure, if you can't feel anything, therefore you can last longer, where he can just have his fun. That's basically in a nutshell. He can have his fun, you don't feel anything, and you will constantly be lubricated because you're at the point where you can't turn it off. And that's where things get spoiled, because if it's done wrong, all kinds of things can go wrong. So you're constantly, literally, to use the term, on tap. And for him, this is exceeding his pleasure. So it's not designed whatsoever to please you. It's all about him.
Let me close my mouth. You want to take my satisfaction away so that you can satisfy yourself, Abby? Let me drink to that.
Drink, because it's a big subject. But power is what I'm talking about. That power is ours, but the people taking that power away from us are us. So a woman, maybe a man decided it at some point, but a woman is the one executing it. And that's where I'm like, what is the value of a woman, of a black woman to a woman? What is it? Because I can't possibly, Marlene, see that happening. Excuse me for saying this. I see this. I'm just saying. No, it's my duty as a part of, as a member of the black women, to make sure that it doesn't happen to your child, or my child. Do you understand what I'm trying to say? So what I don't understand is why the generations that are doing it till today are okay with that. It doesn't have to be my child. It's just another woman. It can't happen for me.
But the thing is that if it's something that it's happened to your grandma, to your mother, it happened, you just continue to pass it down. It's like a ritual. It's almost like, a cultural ritual. And culture is deep. You can't just get rid of someone's belief system. Or if they believe that, well, it happened to me, I came out fine, and the next and the next and the next.
They've made it normal.
It's a normal practice. So that's why I feel like another woman can easily do it to another woman, because it probably happened to her, and she thought this is the way that we do things around here. That's what culture means, the way we do things around here. So if that's what your imprint and your blueprint, then you're not going to see anything wrong with it. And for some people, it's a deeply held belief in their culture, in their society. And it's a way for you to have a sense of belonging, almost like, oh, you've done it, I've done it, So they don't see it as wrong.
Yeah, until someone steps in and tells you that what you're doing is
exactly
wrong. And they expect that over time, whatever you're feeling, the sadness you're feeling or the trauma you're feeling, it will just go away. They think that it will just go.
Yeah.
And what you said there, you don't know who started it, but I feel in Africa everything is mainly started by men. Why do I say by men? Because we women are there to just be submissive. We're there to just listen. And men always had the upper hand in making rules. And in Africa, we have leaderships as in kings and chiefs and ogas and things like that. So if the chief of the village had said that this is how it's going to go down, this is how it's going to go down, and you're going to practice it, So then it goes to what she said, it becomes normal generation and generation and generation. Because if you as a woman knew that this process is going to be this painful, you would not want to go through it and you would not want to do it.
Because the thing I want to allude to is within that practice, what we also tend to hear is the taboo of women who can't have children, right? And again, the most and the hurtful people in that situation is the female. Uganda has the highest second wife, third wife marriages.
Uganda,
yes. According to my research anyway, there could be more, but that's as far my research went. Uganda has this system, and I saw this in the documentary, where the matriarch is telling her son that she's now 35 or whatever, she's now 25 or whatever, you need to go and find yourself an 18 now.
Someone young and fresh, active in the area.
Yes.
My friend, but are you active for me in the area too?
So again, the matriarch is leading this, go and find an next one and keep breeding. And it, again, that devaluing of the female again, you know. So as much as men may have invented it or may not, even if they did, let's just assume that they did invent it. But the carry forward of all of these violence, we're not talking war here, we're literally talking someone, like you said, there's a party, there's a whole ambiance, and it's a coming of age. But if you look at the coming of age historically, that's not how it went down. Because the coming of age historically, before colonialism, that is, before slavery, it was very much a case of you understanding how every part of your body works. Therefore, if you actually understood everything, that how it worked, you'd be able to please him anyway. Because you understood.
This is why they're trying to force young kids in primary to understand that, so that it could be blamed on you.
But the difference with how we did it was there was a time that was taken, and you were removed from so you take you from 9 years old, for example, and you had a process, because at that point your body's changing anyway. So they're giving you the full sexual education, not just this is it. They're giving you the mental, the physical, everything. You understood exactly how to deal with that power, to take from what you said, that power, which is exactly what it is. Our sexuality, our sexual being is a power, it's a force, because it creates life.
Exactly.
So you now know how to harness that power. You now know how to control it. You now know it doesn't become you, but it is yours.
But a lot of us are not taught of that power. No one sat me down to teach me that power. I'm still learning about that power within me as, like, every day as I grow, from giving birth to before giving birth, just the whole process. If someone sat me down and explained to me why I shouldn't have sex before marriage, then I wouldn't have. There's a whole process in explaining it, because what I knew before, what I know now, and what I'm yet to know, if you sat me down and just explained it to me properly, it's like when you tell a child not to touch fire. Tell me why I shouldn't touch the fire.
Explain
and you have
to
to remember that when it comes to sex, it's like it works with your emotions and your feelings. So if you're telling someone to not do something, but they're feeling something, it's almost like, so that means that there's an onus and responsibility on parents mainly to start teaching their children about that, because it's a biological thing. It's not something that you can just, do you understand? You're gonna get those feelings eventually, and then what do? How do you harness that? So I feel like there's a responsibility for you to be taught that has to be part of. You can't just teach a woman to cook, to clean, and then miss out other elements. And that's not to say that I agree with only women being taught to cook and clean.
Men need to be taught as well.
But I'm saying you have to add
when
the
I think
sex
about what you guys have
factor into
said
it.
in terms of sex, it's more feeling than physical, because the transformation of a female, there's a lot of hormones to deal with.
Exactly.
So you need to explain to me why I'm suddenly feeling angry. We're women, right?
Exactly.
And I can tell you, I can go through 15 moods in an hour. But someone needs
on
to
your
explain.
period alone.
Exactly.
So imagine,
That's what I'm trying to say. So if I'm
outside
12
of
years
that,
old and I'm 11 years old, I don't know what this
your
is.
moods are
So
changing.
you need to explain it to me. But more importantly, which is what we don't do, you need to explain it to the boy.
Yeah, they need to understand.
They need to understand, because
it's a roller coaster when it comes to emotions with us.
yes, because I'm thankful that I have brothers who sort of understand she's going through that moment.
What mood are you on today? They kind of ask you those
It's
questions.
not. It's not. Well, I was free enough to be able to say, "Can you go and get me some, pads?"
Yeah.
So, but again, that's only because we grew up here.
Yeah, don't go asking that in
Do
Africa.
you understand what I'm trying to say? So there's this big whole taboo, which is what I'm trying to break down, that the value is, if we're saying that this is black gold, then why are we treating it like it's black trash?
But there is those that treat it like black trash, and there is those who treat it like black code.
Exactly.
There is those. I don't know about every African country.
Yeah.
But I refer to Congo and some of the tribes, and just in general, back in the olden days. Me as a woman, if I was on my period, I shouldn't even touch this. I should not enter the kitchen. I should not cook. It's my moment because I'm unclean. It's my moment to look after me, to relax, and to wait until I am clean. And I do understand the concept, because what is coming out and what you're doing, and for you to be going into the kitchen, I understand that concept. So there's people who do look at it as a moment of, the woman needs to have her time kind of thing. This is my woman who's birthing my child. There's people who nurture you, who cherish that whole process. But at the same time, because it's so important, they've used it as a weapon against you.
That's very true.
Literally.
Good?
No, yeah.
All right, cool. Let me swerve a little bit. So, recently, science has blessed us, I say blessed, with the findings of the first, or the oldest woman. I believe her name is Lucy. She was a black woman. And Africa has had the most illustrious women ever. I can name you some names. You've got Cleopatra, Nefertiti, Nzinga, Queen of Sheba, Makeda,
Charlhene.
Winnie Mandela, yeah, Hanna, Marlene. We've had all of these illustrious women. However, we don't celebrate them the way we celebrate, I don't know, the Hermes bag.
I don't even know who that is, so don't worry, you're on your own.
Yeah, we don't celebrate them like we celebrate, I don't know, the red bottoms. You understand what I mean?
Of
Why?
which I was going to wear today, by the way. So that there's a
I'm
point
not
there.
saying you can't wear
There's
them.
obviously a point. No, there is a point.
You can wear
actually.
your red bottoms. No
There is a
problem.
point.
But because I'm wearing mine. But anyway, no. The point is, why? Why are we so? It's almost like we're ashamed of these women. When I said that to some women that, you know, Nzinga at some point had a baby on her back, gun and a machete on the other hand. That's a real woman to me, because she understood what her responsibilities were. She never let one of them slide. She's just my idol, so I could talk about her all day. But that was my point. Is like, why are we so, you know, like for example, Nefertiti, she raised an empire. Up until the point where her son was old enough to take care of it, but she was the driving force of what we now call Egypt. The rise of the pyramids, etc., etc. She was one of the driving forces. You can go back as far as Tei, who was another one. There are so many women, but yet in African culture, or Nana Santua, or that can go on. There's so many, wherever, but we don't talk about them, and we don't really care about them like we do. I don't know, Kim Kardashian.
I don't even talk about those people that you mentioned, this Kim Kardashian over there. I'm talking about my mum and my grandma, okay?
Exactly.
So because, for example, Kim, okay, you go girl, you do your thing, but there's also a negative element in most of the things that she does. All these women that are out there, they're not really portraying positive to the younger generation. They're betraying like being a whore is normal, basically. That's the image that they give. People need to differentiate the difference between social media life, celebrity life, and your normal life. So there's an image that they have to portray in order to what it is that they're doing. You might take a picture for the purpose of an album cover. You want it to look a certain way. But that does not mean that I should find my daughter doing the same thing in the bedroom. Parents need to have a role in breaking the difference, and young ladies these days need to have a role in breaking the difference. Stop trying to live the social media life that I'm Kim Kardashian. She is not a positive influence at all. She might
Just
be doing
don't
well
diet.
now. She might be doing well now, but how she got to where she got to and what she did to get there is not a positive thing.
I would argue that she's still not doing well now, because she can go and get that body like that. Whereas
Yeah,
me
but
and
they're
you
trying
haven't
to-
got the
they're trying to
means
be-
to
they're
do
trying
that,
to
but they
be
can
us.
promote that they can do that.
They're trying to be us. You spend so much time. Sorry to give this example. You spend so much time insulting black women, and now you're trying to be them. You're trying to get the thighs. Obviously, it's not for everyone. Not every black woman has that shape, but most of it comes from Africa. So you're trying to be the things that you trash all the time. Now all of a sudden it's okay for someone to have lips like me, when before it was not okay to have lips like me. So I'm not celebrating them whatsoever. They are doing well in their life. If I see something positive, I'm a clap because I'm a support a woman. But I'm not going to be looking up to you in the way that I should be supporting my mum. She birthed me. Let your child celebrate you the same way Beyonce is trying to do something positive with her daughter. But the rest of which you're showing to me, it's not positive.
Just before you come in and answer, but do you think, just from what you're saying, because you mentioned Beyonce and everything, do you think that our female role models, like the Beyoncés, taking her out of the context because she's done some stuff and she still continues to do some stuff in positive for black women, do you think that in Africa, so she's American, but from an African perspective, do you think we need more? Because I point to you, there's a lady, I can't remember her name, a Nigerian lady who was actively on This Morning promoting bleaching. Actively.
Excuse me?
And she was
The one that took her wig off.
Yeah, that one. She was actively promoting bleaching, and she was talking about how great it is and blah 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 blah. And she was trying to give it a thing where she was making it sound sane. And I just kind of thought, why do we do this? And that goes back into the whole context of what we're talking about, the value of a black woman. Why does her skin have to be lighter, whiter, for her to be great?
Well, some of them, when it comes to skin bleaching, there's so many that could even go back into the next topic that we spoke about in terms of being or thinking you're going to be more desirable for a man. Right. You know, in Africa, there is, because they found that a lot of the women who bleach, they find that the women who are lighter always get married quicker, or men always go for them.
Yeah, that's a research. I saw that.
Men always just find them. Why is it that they? I had a friend who told me that. I don't know if I should say this, but anyway, she said she joined an institution or she joined somewhere, and she told me within the 1 year, all the light skinned girls got married. And that's something that a dark skinned girl will see. And she asks herself, well, why? What's the difference between myself and this? The only difference is that she's fair skinned. So then you start to think that my skin color is not good enough. And then when it comes to, being, it goes, but even down to the animal kingdom, and not to say that we're animals.
We are. We're mammals in the backbone.
Not to say we're animals, but even if we take it down to the most basic level, every sort of, even a female lion wants to always be attractive and poached by a male. So if we take it down up to humans in terms of everybody wants to sort of be desirable so that somebody would want them.
Yeah.
So when it comes down to skin bleaching, it's deep because it could be the difference between being selected by a man and not being selected by a man, having your children and not having financial backing by a man, and not literally it goes that deep. And that's not to say that it's right, but that is kind of sometimes marriage does afford you those luxuries.
So I know what you're saying and you're giving examples, but I don't believe in any of that stuff. I see it as nonsense.
But
I'm not saying I believe in bleaching. I'm just saying that
what
this is
she's
what
saying
people have
in terms of
experienced.
No, I see that, but it's all to do with society.
Yes.
It's what they promote to see what is right.
Yes.
I'll give you an example.
The Asian community, they bleach. Because they believe the lighter you are, the more Caucasian you are, the more desirable, the more you are accepted.
Yeah.
Because white have been put themselves in a pedestal that they are the leaders, that they are us, knowing that you were made from me. Okay, and you want to accept that it's okay for you to be put in that position. When you're having children, raising your children, this is also a role that a mother has to play.
Yes.
Teach your child that black, brown, whatever tone you are,
Yes.
it's beautiful. Yes, mixed race or light-skinned women get put in this position. That's because society has allowed it. And some of our men also fail us in that aspect of accepting it like that. But there's no difference between me and you.
Exactly.
You cook, you clean, I do this, I do that, I do that.
Well, let me give you an example.
There's no difference.
So, when I first arrived in this country, my mum came to pick me up from school one day. I remember it like it was yesterday because it shocked the living daylights out of me because I didn't even realise until they made it apparent. So my mum is lighter than me. So she came to pick me up from school, but they wouldn't let her pick me up from school. because I'm dark skinned. So she was, and obviously she was speaking Kimboa because she didn't know a word of English. She was like, "Why is my daughter?" And all this. So I was just like, "That's my mom," and they were like, "No, we did." I was like, "Right." I didn't at the time realize, but the older I got, the more I realized, wow. Complexion is. First of all, it didn't occur to me that my mom's a different complexion, even though I know my mom's a different complexion.
Yeah.
But it's the realization that it's something that can be used against me that made me feel a way. And then within that context, you have family members that have made it their business
to tell me
that
a personal example.
To tell me that you would look so much prettier if you just looked like your mum and less like your dad.
It's rude, you know.
Yeah. Because
my daughter's fair skin, as you know, you've seen, right? Gave birth to her. Hey, she's light. Did you lay down with a white man? No. It could be a throwback. It could be anything. I didn't lay down with no white man. And it was a throwback and it came from her father's genes. But, like, oh, is that really your daughter? You're putting on a
But that's a misconception in even black people thinking that lighter shades of us don't exist.
Yeah, it's a throwback. We have it in us.
That for some reason, they don't understand that there is races within the black races.
Exactly. Even up to albino. There's an albino gene as well.
Thank you. Like, if I said my mum was born a ginger black girl, it's like, what?
Yeah.
I was reading something the other day.
How's that possible? No,
it's a shame I didn't remember the exact quote or the name, but it said that black women, we are the only one who have a certain type of DNA that allows us to produce different type of
that's why you have
tones and races.
White,
only
ginger.
us.
Yeah.
Why can't a white person give birth to a black person?
Let me bring the conversation to this. This is my favorite topic to discuss. Dolls. I love talking about this. Dolls. My first ever doll was Barbie. You know,
dolls.
Dolls.
Dollies.
My first dollies. My first Barbie doll was in the 80s, without giving away how old I am. In the 80s, I got this really nice Barbie doll, and she when she just started moving, because before she was just limp, right? No, she started moving.
Everyone's watching this is thinking you're old.
I know, because they've only ever seen a moving one. But no, she just started moving. She's doing all this stuff, and I could change her outfits.
Oh, wow.
And I had Ken to go with it. Like, they were like, anyway.
You sound like you still want to go for that.
I'm in there. But no, the point is that was my favorite toy, but it was also my level of beauty. My standard of beauty, because I never had a black doll. So when we're talking about the value of a black woman, how are we giving value of a black woman if the first thing a black child gets to play with is the image of a white woman in the form of Barbie?
This is what I'm saying. Representation is so key. Now we do have a lot of companies that produce black dolls. We even have ones that have African print, wearing the kente cloth and all sorts. There's I do sometimes go on Anthony Joshua's sort of like stories, and I do see him with some books, actual like literature that he he gives to his niece to like read about being a black female, so
Anthony can hit me up any day.
And I was going to talk about
which day of the week. Sorry.
I was going to talk about even because it's actually through Anthony Joshua's stories that I actually get to see like, oh, so there's books on this, and it's really going into sort of the black is king sort of movement. And I feel like you just have to now, thank God, there's so much more literature out there for young females to read, to learn about their hair, because that's another topic, like having your natural hair and appreciating your natural hair. I just think that I'm so happy that even with my organisation, Young Ladies Club, we go into schools, we talk to a lot of BAME girls, and we do a lot of workshops on self-esteem. Majority of our curriculum is based on building up self-esteem and confidence. So we have a parent's ideals, we have all kinds of worksheets, and we can see literally just the difference, the impact that we're having in terms of just letting them know that, no, you're beautiful. Like, you don't need to change your weight or your hair or anything about yourself. You are beautiful. So I feel like representation is key. There needs to be more of us out there on the front line that are, portraying ourselves in a way that, younger females look up to. So, so in terms of the Barbie dolls, I know that there are a lot of companies that are producing different. I think even Barbie may even be going down.
Yeah, Barbie's already started doing it as well.
So I think the problem is kind of finding a solution. I just think it took too long.
I cannot really relate to that, I was never a doll, Barbie
Yeah.
kind of thing. I was never that. I was just a get on with it kind of person. And I grew up with a lot of boys around me. So you'll find me with a bit of PlayStation, if anything.
Yeah.
And naturally speaking, I'm someone who's not easily influenced. So none of that stuff would work on me. So, sorry.
I see. For me, it wasn't so much an influence. It was more of a subconscious of what was right, and what was elite to what was better.
Yeah, but
It's not
for
so
you,
much-
for you to be told what is right and what is better, you have to influence me. You need to tell me. You
Well,
need to show me.
Influence
and I have to
is more of
accept it.
Influences can be subtle.
Yeah, that's what I'm trying to get at.
Can be
Influence
very
can be subtle
subtle.
because
Yeah.
this what I'm talking about. Dolls. It was actually experimented, and they've experimented across all the races of the earth. They put all these kids together, and they made them choose within categories. They put the even pictures.
they picked the white doll.
They asked them who is the criminal. They always
the
picked
black
black.
doll.
Everything that was negative was
Because
always
that's
this black
what they
child.
portray. That's what
But
media
that's what I mean. So
portrays.
from the media to their toys, even right. So the toys didn't exist in the 80s for black kids. We can all say that. Well, at least I can say because I was there. There was no black. I think the only thing I ever saw that was black
It's
was
a record,
Mr. T.
doll. Okay.
Mr. T.
A record doll.
And then those
The record doll.
red lips.
Yeah.
And the thing
Yeah,
is, back
them
then
guys.
we didn't need toys. We were very creative. We were spending most of our times outdoor. And in Africa, most kids would create the toys themselves. They use the sources of what they have around them. So you don't have time to go to the shop to go buy no Barbie doll.
Yeah.
It's this generation who needs things because they're spending their time indoors. And with COVID, you can't even go outside. So do you get what I mean? iPads and
iPad.
technology
But
and all
it's-
this kind of thing. So
but
it's
even-
all
but
being
Even on
diluted.
social media,
Even social
even on
media.
social media,
Yeah.
just kind of look at the rise of plastic surgery, the rise of
This is
BBL.
it. It's been, do you know?
It's all subtle.
You could
very subtle.
have an Instagram page, right? And someone would just write to you like, "Oh, Charlhene, Marlene, Hanna, we've noticed that you've got a big follower. I'm a company. I do, what's it, Brazilian
Surgery,
surgery
BBL.
kind of thing. I will give it to you for free
If you do X, Y,
so that you can just put it on your page and promote, and others will come
listen,
to
honey,
me."
I got a bleaching one. Hey.
Like, if it's my
They
choice,
received.
then it's my choice. If something goes wrong, that's my decision. Don't come to me with that. Even companies with clothing, I've had companies like bikini ones or like, "Oh, yeah, we want you to have it." I reply like, "No, it's okay, I'm not interested. Give me blazer, give me shoes, give me handbag, give me the dress. I don't want to do bikini. I'm not interested." It's a personal choice for you to decide what you wanna put out there. But they making it look like what you're saying, subtling the influence, and I don't have time for that.
So, because you seem very strong-willed, and unfortunately, there's not many
many of us like that.
Not
And
many
that's why
girls
we need to
are
birth
just-
those kind of people.
So
We need
my
to raise
question
those
to
kind of
you is
kids.
that how did you become so strong-willed against influences? Was it your upbringing? Was it a personal decision that you made at a certain age? And have you
Upbringing and
never
life.
had any form of insecurities in terms of, what's out there in the media or today, presently?
Well, no. To be very honest with you, there are some things that we look up to. I might see you doing something, and I might be interested. I might be influenced by it. If it's in a negative light, I would just, But you do have the elements of life experience and what it teaches you. And one thing that made me more stronger, I will take it back to where we started, if Charlene would permit me.
I would just hold on to that for a second. I want to go back a little bit and talk about commodity. We talked about value, but I want to talk about commodity, and again under the same headings. So I'll paint a picture. Historically, the average birthing age female slave or black woman would cost from $120 to $800, which is like £21 in today's money. £21,000 in today's money, to be bought. That's how much they would cost, and the reason being that you are bought at such a young age because you're there to produce and produce and produce. You are there to just build, bring more thing. So the question is having realized this, why are we still living in this? Why do we still carry on that same mindset where we treat women as if they're commodities, i.e., the dowry, the way we interpret the dowry now to how it was?
It's true, it's been changed.
It's been changed. So, like you alluded to earlier, the commodity of I paid for you, therefore I own you. How do women? I don't want to hear about the men. How do women break away from that and start realizing that, you know, paying a dowry does not mean you own me. And just because historically we've been sold for £21,000 does not mean that that's what my worth is or my value.
Yeah, I was going to say that you yourself have to, you know, change your perspective and really be, you know, in tune with yourself in terms of understanding your self-worth and your value. That it literally starts there with a woman, because there's so many things that are going to come to you and say, oh, you're this age, you should be, you know, married, or you should have this amount of children, or you should. But if you have that self-worth, because there's no way, society has these pressures.
Yeah.
Now you have to choose whether you're going to succumb to that pressure or rise above that pressure. And that is an inside job. You have to know that with or without anything that society says you should have, you are okay. You are powerful. I have that mentality. There's nothing. I believe in myself. I love myself. There's nothing you can tell me to have that I feel. Well, I'm good. Or I'm good as I am.
Good.
I wrote on Facebook
That's the level. That's the confidence that I have within me.
If you're waiting for someone to define your beauty, like hold tight to you, because you should be able to define it for yourself.
Exactly.
You should be able to accept it yourself.
And what the secret to that is that I always say to people that if you don't love yourself, you know, no one else is gonna love you.
No. No one.
Because you attract what you are. So when you truly fall in love with yourself, you truly understand what it means to have self-worth, you will not tolerate a lot of things, and you won't fall into a lot of traps and vices that society want you to fall into.
So my final question, in conclusion, I'll give you both your time. My final question is, what is the value of a black woman to you, Marlene?
The value of a black woman for me is power. It's literally power. We birth a lot of things, be it man or woman. If you look at Africa itself, the resources, the minerals, it's made of us, of you. When you're buried, your soil and everything, that's the power. That's the beauty of it coming back, and everybody wants a bit of you. Everybody wants a piece of me. Whether I'm light or dark is for you to decide what tickles your fancy. But the value of a black woman is power. The biggest supporter of a woman is a woman, but the biggest destroyer of a woman is also a woman.
Yeah.
So if we learn to really put certain things aside, I think we will do well. We spend most of our time saying how men are destroying us. Yes, they may or they do, but it's also because we permit them.
Yeah.
And that's because we're not realizing how much power we have within us. And when we do realize, we don't know how to use the power that we have within us. Once we know how to use our power, then we'll know exactly who we are.
And I agree with Marlene, it's power, but it's understanding that power. That's the key, you know, understanding who you are, getting to knowing who you are, understanding yourself and carrying yourself that way. Working on your mindset, your mentality. All of those things are they're so important to, you know, to who the black woman is and the makeup of the black woman. So I just have to agree with that point. She kind of said it all in terms of really understanding and enhancing your power.
Nice. I'll conclude my part. My part is there's two parts. There's the individual and there's a collective. So as an individual, I would say the value begins with you in the mirror when you're brushing your teeth. So my thing every morning is I look at something. And I say thing because I'm like, I will talk to my eyebrow if I have to and say, you look gorgeous today. I will talk to my nose and say, you look good today. I will talk to my butt and say, you look good today. If I'm not capable of telling my body that you're sexy and I am attracted to my body, therefore I'm not whole. Because I should be attracted to myself first. Okay? Skinny, fat, slim, whatever you want to call it, I'm attracted to whatever it is I came to, you know, this planet with. I'll look at it in the morning and be like, you look good today. I walked out the house this morning, I was like, the hair is looking banging. I ain't even gonna lie. I actually was talking to my hair like, you look good. Why? Because every part of my body needs to understand I love it. Okay, that's the individual part of it. And that's the part you're saying about the whole you are you. And that's the power. So I think there's Queen Afua who talks about having a conversation with your vagina in the same way. Because go and have a look at it.
Okay.
Go and have a look at her Quint Afua. There's a book, and she talks all about how we can reclaim that power of our sexual organs. And she's amazing. She's amazing. Everyone follows her, including the Beyoncés and all those people. But I was following her before they did, so let's just side note. But that's one part. The collective part for me is every woman and their child is me. Therefore, their pain is mine. So I should never allow another woman, another girl, or another female to endure pain from another female or from another being, period. So when I see it, call it. When I know it, help. When I can, give. But I should never, ever be the person that says, oh, well, you know, it happens all the time. It's just what happens, you know. Oh, well, he's your husband. No. If I'm in that, I'm worse than the person doing it.
They say that we ask for it sometimes.
Yeah, but most women are the ones that deliver these blows. But we should be the ones that women come to and say, you know, when we have in our communities, it's like, you know, just grin and bear it. It's just this marriage. This is what happens. You know, we should be the ones to say, honey, if it messes with your minds and your physical, then you don't need to be there.
Anything that costs you a peace of mind is too expensive.
Literally.
But anyway, ladies, it has been fun. We could talk all night, and we've got drinks to go with it as well. But it has been fantastically fun, enjoyable. We will meet again.
Thank you
very much for coming. Thank you very much for joining us. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right.